Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Medical Mondays with Dr. O. Um, we're still in the domestic violence month.
Good evening,
and
everyone.
Still continuing with dialoguing with victims, survivors, and conquerors. I have learned something during this process, during this month, that you have survivors. Yes, some are still going through domestic violence, but they're still alive, thank God. Some are true survivors because they've been able to get away from the situation and doing better. But then there are the conquerors who have lived or moved beyond and are able to now, empower others, are doing different things for themselves and for others. They I think they will forever be healing, but they have gotten to a place where they got things together. And I call them conquerors. I heard that also in this month, in last episodes. So we're thankful for those who have engaged us and have boldly shared their stories. I am Dr. Toyin Okbesomi, a family practitioner in Maryland. And tonight we had a speaker, Vera Osage, who was going to share her story for the first time. Actually, I moved the speaker tonight to next week to accommodate her. And 5 minutes before the program, when I called to ask, why she wasn't on yet, she said her husband called that her son had an accident, slashed his tongue. It's open to discussion, and she has to run over there. Of course, that is priority. So we have a speaker that will step in tonight. Nkechi is going to come on and step in. I'll allow her to introduce herself when she actually comes on. But I'm leaving the floor open for now for us to just have a dialogue about this, domestic violence, the physical aspect, the mental, the emotional aspect. And Dr. Jagbe was saying something about the tongue just before we started recording. Dr. Jagbe, I'm going to defer to you to shed light into what you were about to say. Again, welcome everyone to Medical Mondays with Dr. O.
Well, thank you, Dr. O. It's another interesting day, and we always wait to have an excellent outcome, regardless of the challenges that we face, whether it's technical challenge or human challenges. We have always come up top. Well, I just wanted to use the opportunity to kind of just bring our attention to the consequences of domestic violence. So one of them is what we see in my profession when there is head and neck or facial and jaw injuries that cannot be explained away. We can easily say that it must have something to do with assault. And assault doesn't have to be from a totally random stranger. It can almost always be from well known and close member of the family, in which case there's a form of abuse going on. So anyway, we were talking about it. I just wanted to use the opportunity since Dr. V was asking, maybe we should talk about the tongue a little bit. And I just wanted to say that before the next sub speaker comes on, just to say that one of possible damages that can be done during physical contact or physical violence during in experienced by a victim in domestic violence is lacerated tongue, which is interestingly, similar to what the little child that was being told that had an accident tonight could have suffered from. Similar to, falling from a height or bumping into something or even road traffic accident. But we're talking about domestic violence. So let's say there's an altercation between two members of the family, whether it's a male and female or female to female, adult to child. We've seen it in dentistry when people will come in with fractured jaw, and they cannot just say, "Oh yeah, I tripped and I fell and I broke my jaw." You will see that there's an amount, a tremendous amount of force that is necessary to break anybody's jaw, particularly the lower jaw. The lower jaw is way denser than many bones of the body. So to fracture it easily means there must be a tremendous amount of force. If somebody was hitting the chin, for instance, let's say that two people are arguing and one person is saying, just leave me alone, just leave me alone. The other person is just shoving and pushing and finally just hit somebody in the chin. There are terrible consequences that could result from that. Just simple punch on the chin could fracture one or both TMJs, the joints of the jaw that's right in front of the ears can fracture. Both sides can fracture simultaneously, or one of them could fracture. But sometimes, if the force was directed in a very forceful way upward, it can actually drive the lower jaw into the base of the skull, right into the brain. So that's why I thought it would be necessary to talk about this possible danger of domestic violence when it becomes physical. It's a very dangerous place to be. Sometimes some patients will come in with black eye. When you see anybody who is trying to use their hair to cover their face, particularly covering one particular eye more than the other, then you have a suspicion that something is going on. And when you see somebody who's applying heavy eyeshadow, making everything so dark all the time around their eyes, you have a suspicion that something is going on under the makeup, which is sometimes just to mask the real situation that is going on. So anyway, I just thought that you know, as a professional, when somebody comes to me and I observe some of these things, whether it's a loose tooth that sometimes they just say, "Well, I just don't know, my tooth just fell out," and there was no sign that there was any kind of gum disease or bone loss, you know there must be a trauma. And sometimes it's just a severe blow to the face, to the jaws that will cause the tooth to fly out of the patient's mouth or the individual's mouth. So anyway, I know that there are other signs of physical injury that can result from domestic violence, but I thought I should just highlight that. Now, when we talk about the tongue, though, the tongue being the instrument that is needed to talk, you know, if somebody that needs to narrate their, account of situation cannot talk because their tongue is lacerated, then of course it's going to take a while before you can truly get the complete story of what happened to them. Injury to the tongue is not fatal. It's not something that a patient can die from. It could cause a lot of discomfort, but if it's if it is sewed back together soon after the injury, the tongue can recover very beautifully because it has that kind of muscle memory. Most of the injuries to the tongue will not cause damaged nerves unless you go to the origin of the nerve or where the nucleus is, and that's part of the head is damaged. Other than that, the tongue can recover very easily if there was injury to the tongue. let me just stop here. I hope Nkechi has reached that destination. I don't want to keep going. So.
Yes, she has.
Okay.
But Dr. V, did Dr. Jagwe shed light into this tongue?
Yeah, it's reassuring to hear of how quickly the memory can help rebuild. Because when you hear that word shattered, it's kind of scary because you're thinking, how will the person eat? When would the person be able to eat? Do they have to get on drips immediately? What is it? That kind of a picture.
Yeah, well, I mean, if it's hospitalization, I mean, if somebody has to be put into hospital, for instance, there are ways to bypass the injured area of the mouth. We could pass the nasogastric tube, that is a tube that will go through the nose into the stomach, and liquid food can be actually used to feed that individual temporarily.
Oh.
We could also use the same kind of tube through the mouth instead of through the nose, because sometimes some patients cannot tolerate passing something through their nose into their stomach. So uh, they may not be able to chew the kind of food they like if they love shrimp or they love steak. Temporarily, they will be, that will be off limits to them because they can't really. You cannot chew without your tongue molding whatever it is you're chewing.
Amazing. Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you
you, Dr. O and Dr. Ajagbe.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Nkechi,
Yeah, I am here.
so if you please introduce yourself, and thank you so much for stepping in.
Okay.
Last minute. God bless you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you have the floor.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so let me make this bigger.
You're good. You look good.
Okay. Okay, so good evening, everyone. You're gonna see me on two things on the phone. I was trying to set up my computer, but the voice is not coming up. So I'm gonna mute one picture and use it as a speaker.
Okay.
And then I'll open up this one. No, Shishel.
I think you should leave it as it is, what you have, because
okay.
see you and hear you the other way. Yeah.
Okay.
We see and hear you.
Yeah, so today I want to talk to all of our Nigerian members or the doctors or the people on Dr. O about what domestic violence is and how it really affects us, those that had gone through it. If someone on this earth tells me I, Nkechi Uzoegwu, would ever go through domestic violence or go through stalking, I'll say no. Because I am very, very, when it means very careful in what I do in Nigeria and how I lived my life. I was I would say I'm 100% good. I was a Christian girl, go to church, do things. I was this ethical that anybody would not even believe that would go through this. In my school, were few people that were taking physics or chemistry or so. And I found myself in this situation. But when I found myself in this situation, what I did was no condition is permanent. I had to pick myself up. But it wasn't easy. It wasn't an easy thing because I was in a country where I don't know anybody. I don't have a brother. I don't have a sister. I don't have somebody that I could relate with that could help me. And it was such a very shameful thing for me. This is me that had used a lot of men to do yanga, like in Nigeria, they would say, oh, I want to marry you. And I would say no, I would say no. Not that I said no, because my parents too even caused to, my late mother even caused to my domestic violence. Because one, I met a Yoruba man that wanted to marry me. Just because he's a Yoruba man, my mother said no. And this Yoruba man, his family welcomed me. His mother welcomed me. Even the night I had to pass, the night I passed The day I passed the night in their house. That is something I never see with my Igbo mother-in-law. My mother-in-law made food, made me sleep on the same bed with her. Even when the son does anything, my mother-in-law is a Yoruba woman. May her soul rest in peace. She's late. She would scold the son. When I mean scold the son, like talk to the son, you will not do this. You will not do this. Lie, lie, lie. And I was very young, but I'm not as rich as their family. But the mother was always there for me. But my Igbo mother-in-law was not there for me at all. My Igbo mother-in-law belittled me. I want nothing. I can't even near her. I can't even, she was really happy about what is going on. So like I was sharing with you all here, I don't want this thing to just go like we do 1 month, 2 months of domestic violence, it goes away. I want everyone to use me as a research, what my experience was and how I dealt with my own domestic violence and stalking. Till today, I'm still going through it. Like I said, when I found myself in the situation and had to bring a child into it, a 6-month-old little boy, a 6-month-old little boy without a father. It was a shameful thing. I could not call anybody back home. It was a disgrace to me. But my mother that pushed me to marry this individual, I called her as a mother and said, look at what this guy is doing. My mother, well, like, yeah, it's not IK, it's you. It's you, Nkechi. Because you are so pretty, you think every man is always wanting you. That's why you went to America to open eye. Let him teach you a lesson. Teach me a lesson. Dr. Jagwe was saying something about jaw. You understand? I got the beating of my life. He will beat the hell out of me. Who'd I cry to? I would cry, 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 cry. The only place I go to is church. I will run to church. I'm a born Catholic. Every morning, I will go to church. I will go to mass until I went to cry to a reverend father. And the reverend father introduced me to a family. You understand? I cannot say anything. If I say anything, my mother will shut me down. It is not you. It is not him, it is you. Yeah, he provided everything. I had a home. He bought a house. But was I happy? No. I was always crying. I never had that mother-in-law that would call and talk to me in my house. So she's late now. You understand? That would even call to check on me. Rather, she would call to check on me and ask me, have you wake up? Did you clean the house this morning? Did you do this? Somebody controlling me from Nigeria. That is not good though. Haba. I would just be looking. And at that time when he was being abusive, I'll tell you guys, I lost my tube. I'm not ashamed to say this. This is something everybody will hear. I lost my fallopian tube for this individual that had cost me to be a single mother today. And when I lost that tube, you understand, it was a shameful thing. I could not tell my mother. I could not tell my father. Who did I talk to? Anybody that attended College of Medicine in Diaraba. You remember Dr. Sage, Giwa Sage. Giwa Sage and Dr. Ajayi came in when I was ill at our clinic and found out I had ectopic pregnancy. And when he came, he told me what they were going to do, that they were going to take one of my tube away. And the individual, was standing with me. We had nothing. We didn't have money. We're ashamed to tell our parents. But the school, College of Medicine, took it up and did the surgery without taking a farthing because I'm a medical student. And what did Dr. Ajayi told me? He said, you've lost your tube. Let it be this man that will marry you because it's going to be very bad. He was playing with me. He said, oti the spare part, oh. Oti the spare part, bye. Because one pair, you understand. Let him be the one to marry me. Did he marry me? No. He married me, but he was very abusive. When I mean abusive, I saw all this coming. Very controlling, very demanding. And if you see him, he's a very, very smart man. I would not lie. His son took after him. When he talks to he can do math on his head, and that's how the son is. But me in America here, with what he did, and I didn't find anybody to call on. I could not call on friends in Nigeria. I had businesses in Nigeria that I left. I had a canteen. I was the one that was doing the whole Nigerian police force t-shirt, mobile police t-shirts. Oga Okiro, his book, I had a printing press. I established myself as a woman. You understand? Back home, even as I was going to school, because Omo Yologede Nini, I am Omo Yologede, and I wanted to make a change in my family.
What does that mean?
Selling plantain. My mother sells plantain at Ugulano bus stop. Or if anybody that lives around Surulere, you know your Ugulano bus stop. That's it. LMTS bus stop. That's where my mother was. And I'll see doctors. That's how I, wanted to be a doctor. They will come with their lab coat and all that. I'll just stand one corner as a little girl. I say, I will be a doctor one day. I will be a doctor. I'll go to this medical school. If my mother said, Kiri Ogede, you understand? I'm at Ogulano Folashade. I'll go and pass College of Medicine and I'll be pointing NYE, this amount. Whatever we say will come true. And I'll point to that place. I'll say, this school, I will come to this school. I will become a doctor. I will wear this robe. I will wear this robe. That's what I'll go and sell my plantain and come back. So like I was saying, finding myself in this situation was very bad. It wasn't easy. Shelter to shelter, the controlling in shelter, the kind of things you face. But you know what? I had to succumb. I had to bear it. I had to start taking notes. How would I make change in this world with this thing that I went through? I saw some Nigerian women. in the shelter. There was a lady I met. She's a lawyer. She was trying to write her bar. She will cry. Two of us will hold ourselves, will cry and cry and cry, but she doesn't have a child. She found a way to run away. But me, I cannot run away because my parents, they don't even know where embassy is. Not to talk of even getting visa. You understand? And I can't call friends that I know to come and rescue me. And sometimes I will call this individual for money to help us. No, he would not even answer us. And it's not like he doesn't have a good job in America. It's not like he doesn't have a house. What does it take him to take care for this child? But he's by the way at this moment for me, because I'm still going through the problem, but I want us in this community that we are, this group that we are, how can we make changes? And I'll give you some examples. Domestic violence. It is not only beating, they cage you financially. They cage you with everything. They want to be in control. They don't want you to succeed. I will tell you this, as a woman, the kind of license that I've had in California, I don't think many people have that license. So I'm a notary. I'm a loan notarer. I'm a teacher. I am fingerprinting state and federal. I am a realtor, insurance agent. I do decoration, all in the name of getting money. But when I tell you that the domestic violence, the stalker, they will find way to hold you back, not to have money, just to be in their cage. They want to place you in a box. Each time I try to bring myself, they'll put me down. And I started doing one thing, talking to other women. Because all of us that were here, some of us in America here, they are going through hell inside their household. Some of the women, but all in the name of shame. All in the name of, come on, me loco. It is not easy to be single, though. It is the most worst thing a woman will do is to be single. But the other thing a woman would do, if you are single and you start allowing different men into your house, I've seen that in the shelter. I've seen people that they will just leave their children and go and allow government to take their children. So let me just go my own. Then Batemilo, if I'm carrying a child, it's going to be a burden for me. I did not do that. You understand? And the other thing, well, those women would, Bati alone now, let me just be bringing different men. How I'm going to get money.
We have lots of people on the platform who don't speak Yoruba.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So they'll say, let me leave my children.
We have more people.
Let me leave my kids and just move on with my life. You understand? The government can take care of my child. There's foster home. No, I did not do that. But I saw people that did that. I saw women that because the shelter was very difficult to live, it is very difficult to live in a shelter. It is very, very difficult. You are being controlled. Not that you understand, it's a safe place, but you are being controlled. They tell you not to say anything you experience, that you can't call police, you can't call anything. You are there, you wake up 5:30 in the morning or 5 o'clock. You rush inside bathroom and take your bath. If anything past 6:30, you don't eat breakfast, you can't eat breakfast, and you don't have 10 kobo with you. You don't have $1 in your hand. You have to rush, or sometimes you take your bath at night just because you want to make that breakfast. By 6:37, you must be out of that shelter. Sometimes you just be carrying that child and be walking around the streets to find job, to find anything. I will write letter, I will do this, I will do that. To an extent, when my son was sick, they asked me, your ex-husband is a Navy officer, he has TRICARE, we cannot give him this. I took pen, I wrote to the governor. I wrote to the governor requesting that my son be given medical. From Nevada, where they care flighted him, it was over $100,000 for his medical destiny. Oh no, I wrote, they waived it. When I came here, it was difficult. They'll say this, I said, I am filing good cause, I don't want trouble. Like I was saying, my brothers, my fathers, my big uncles here, this is a country that we came to raise, came for greener pasture. How would somebody use his power to hold on a woman just because the woman refused to be abused? And when they abuse you, they are not abusing you ordinarily. They will beat you. And when they finish beating you, where they are beating you, they are raping you. They are having sex with you, with blood. You understand? And in the shelter too, you understand? A lot of things happen. You meet different kind of people. You meet different. Is that where we Nigerians should be? Can we as a group find a way to look into how to help women that are going through this? Can we talk to our pastors in America here, you understand, to see how we can all come together when things are happening, people speak up and they are not held hostage or they are not being backlashed for saying the truth, right? And then a lot of things too. This domestic violence does not come from the man alone. It comes from the family. Sometimes it's the parent that instigates this quarrel. For me, my ex-husband, it wasn't just us having the problem. It is the family that is instigating things. Oh, she's too pretty. She wears this one. She cooks this way. She does this one. We are being trained how to be submissive to our husband. My late mother taught me how to be submissive. But my late mother did not teach me, you understand, how to speak up when I'm being abused. He wants me to what? To just bear the pain. That's the only thing I would say. She's late, that I'm not happy with her, because I hate injustice. I do hate injustice. We are women, right? And they are men, but we are created equally. Men are the head of the house. Why would my husband beat me like somebody that had robbed or do anything? That is not okay. Why would I run to my mother-in-law and say, please, mother-in-law, this is what is happening? And my mother-in-law, she's standing there when they are beating her. Beat her very well. Beat her. Beat some sense into her head. You understand? That is not good. And then here in America, can we all find a way to build a shelter to empower our women that are going through a lot? I am going through hell with what I'm going through. But you know what? But I give thanks and glory to God that I am not that woman that gives up. I'm a strong woman. I have always been a tomboy. This is my first time being in a group of where a lot of women are. I'm always in the midst of men that are uniform men, that are tough, that will tell me what to do and say, okay, this is how we're going to carry out this thing. But look at me in America. I don't have anything to show for all those strengths that I have in Nigeria. I became somebody that is now asking for food or begging for things or doing this or doing that, but I never gave up. I never gave up. Domestic violence is bad and it affects children. I am looking at my son every day leaving the house. This is a boy that got into 5 UCs, got into Howard. But today he's not there. He's in a community college. I am happy though. That is what a man like me would do to a little boy. Why? Just because I say my body is my body. I refuse you to have me. What would it be for me as a young woman, because I'm divorced, to be bringing different men into my house in front of my little boy? Would that child respect me? Even everyone in this group, if I come today and I have 3 children with 3 different fathers, would anybody look at me and want me to share my story? No, because it's not good. That is not our culture. Our culture does not allow us to do things like that. A woman should always keep herself holy. But those women that are keeping themselves holy, men should respect us. Men should respect us. And Nigerian men, both Yoruba, both Igbo, anything, please. It is not okay to hit a woman. You're hitting a woman and your child is seeing that? It is not okay. We should be our children's mentor. We should be our children's mentor. When a woman says, okay, I'm done with this your abuse, please stop holding us back when it comes to financially or how to have a breakthrough in life. You can go and marry, you can go and do anything, but we cannot go and do anything because you think you brought us to America. My ex-husband was even the one that brought me. I am saying it because I was just full of, he left me there, he'll come every December, but I was having other offers of marriage. And as a Christian, I wanted to go and meet somebody that paid my dowry. And I had to go talk to big people to give me a note to go get visa, and look at where I am today. But God was giving me a sign. I did not listen. The Yoruba man that I did not marry, you understand? Both of us, our life changed. Our life changed because of one little thing my mother said: you will never marry a Yoruba man. You will never marry a Yoruba man. What is love? Love does not know tribe. Love is understanding. But for me, it wasn't that for me. And that changed my life. I'm over 50 now. And look at the pain I am finding myself into, from one problem to the other, domestic violence to stalking. And I'm here. The one that annoys me most is when things happen and I had to call the police. The police are people that they have better things doing. It is crime that they deal with, and I have to call them. These are people that, look, they are like maybe my junior sister or junior brother. You understand? Maybe 20-something, 20-thing, and I have to hold my hand and put my hand in the back and talk to them. But when I look at them, I can't even talk because I'm not a criminal. I'll start crying. I'm disgracing myself, calling them every day. That's not something I came here to do in America. Like I was telling you guys, there's nothing I did not learn. I even learned how to write Braille and read Braille. We don't learn, write Braille and read Braille is for people that are visually impaired. But I was trying to empower myself as a woman to be able to take care of myself. But I was being held back all the time. All the time. So my brothers and sisters in this forum, I am begging all of you, what can we do? I have started making arrangements on how we can do to protect our women that are going through domestic violence. I had to call the IG myself. Mr. Egbekotokun, I called him and said, Oga, what can you do to help us? And I know you travel. These are problems that we are having in Nigeria, in America. I'll give you one of the problems that we're having. Somebody will stay, an old man who be 60-something or 50-something, or has a wife here and divorce the wife and go to Nigeria and go and marry one young girl that can read and write and make them go to nursing school. When they come here and read nursing, that is what I'm seeing here. And when they go to nursing school, this man will say, he will let the woman have a lot of children, and they say, okay, I'll be staying home, you go and be working. So we don't pay daycare. And then the man is there controlling how much this woman is making. If this woman talk too much, bam, she's not respectful, she's not listening. That's what they will say, right? Which is not the best. You understand? And that's when they will not make that woman have her paper on time because they're holding that woman hostage to have papers. My case is I only lived with my ex-husband less than 3 years. I've been single for almost 18 and a half years now. And what I did was after that three years that I lived with him, I'm knowledgeable. I quickly filed my citizenship and took the exam and passed. How many women has that knowledge to do that?
But you just said, though, that what can be done?
Yes, ma'am.
And that how can this be, how can we help women in this situation, women going through domestic violence? This is painful. And I can tell you, you are a strong woman. Your skills, you started off being a doctor. You went to medical school in Nigeria, even though your mom was selling plantains. And we know what that means. But you rose. After you got here, despite everything, you have so many credentials. That was why I said, I'm not introducing, I wanted you to introduce yourself. And I'm glad that in your conversation, you've been able to share your achievements. They've been amazing. But even now, holding the roof over your head as we speak is something that I'm begging everyone on this platform to please intervene. Because Nkechi has been given notice, she needs to pay rent. So whatever anyone can contribute, please, it would go a long ways. She was at the bank trying to even see how set up Zelle properly and stuff like that. When I called her tonight, that our speaker who was supposed to speak, informed me after I called her 5 minutes to 7 that, she had an emergency. And I asked if Nkechi can step in because we have purpose on Medical Mondays with Dr. O to keep this month for domestic violence. And we were going to round up tonight. We had a speaker, everything set up. I moved that speaker to next week to round this up because of the one that didn't show up tonight. So, bottom line, how can one help? How can one intervene to change your situation now? Because you are a survivor, we want you to become a conqueror. I'm going to call on our sister here, another Medical Mondays family, Sister Avaros, to give us insight, because that's what she does, day in, day out. We are blessed on this platform. Sister Avaros.
Yes. Hi, how are you all?
Good.
We're doing fantastic. Thank you so much, because this is the last minute or two. You have the floor. Please,
You're
can you
welcome.
introduce yourself properly and then take it over? Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you all and blessings to you all. My name is Ava Ross, and I am the CEO and founder of Tabla Rasa Domestic Violence. We have been in existence for over 8 years, located in Maryland. I definitely wanted to say that domestic violence it's a crime. It is something that shouldn't exist, but it does. I don't think it'll be something that we will ever be able to completely eradicate, but we definitely will be able to provide the services and the information and the resources to help educate and bring that awareness to those who are greatly in need to assist them in escaping. One of the things that that was just stated, which is very important, is what to do when you're in domestic violence. The resources is important. Knowing where to go and how to get that information and the resources is so important. And it's so important that we educate everyone so that they can share, pass that information on to their loved ones, sit down, have that conversation, especially when we're dealing with individuals who are being brought over through green cards and being held captive to that, not being able to move about freely, being a prisoner in their own homes with their documents being held over their heads, as well as deportation. I do want to equip you all with this one information. I'm not sure if you all are aware, but individuals who experience domestic violence, who are dealing with green cards, that there is a visa that is accessible to them through our victims of crime, which is the U visa. If there's an individual who is suffering with their visa being taken from them or threats of marriage, things not being signed over to them to be able to move forward and get either their work visa to continue to live their life and be productive and thrive, they can go and get access for the U visa. They're covered through domestic violence. This will assist them. This will keep them from having to feel like they can't escape because they're being threatened of a deportation. You don't have to be deported. And you don't have to be afraid that if you're undocumented, because you can get the help and that you are protected due to being a victim of domestic violence. So the most important thing is definitely to know what your rights are, what information and resources and services that are available to assist you to be able to move forward so that you can thrive, get your work visa, continue to remain where you are uninterrupted in that process to your journey to have your residency, and to continue to still be able to take care of yourself and your children. Because I know too often that so many are being brought over and left. They either leave them, go get another wife, or go back, and they don't have anything to do. Now they're without finances. They're without that companionship, that covering, that assistance that they had. They're left no vehicles, no information, nowhere to go. They're the children's birth certificates are being taken from them, and they don't know that they can actually apply for one. But it happens, and it happens because we don't know, or you don't know where to go. But the information and the resources are there, and it's definitely about getting it out to those individuals. Let me say one thing that I say to everybody, and this is a quote of mine, and I say this too often because we have to remember that as we go forth and we try to assist other individuals in healing, that we have to first be healed within ourselves. And that's remembering all things we do, to do it in love, truth, and in transparency. First with ourselves and then with others. We cannot help heal and build others when we fail to identify and heal within ourselves. We have to make sure that we are able to first heal ourselves and not go and bring back, which is called vicarious trauma, onto other individuals. That vicarious trauma is you're re-traumatizing someone through your own trauma. And everybody's trauma is different. Everyone's situation is different. Everyone responds differently to the trauma. So we have to understand that we have to be able to be healed, to equip and educate and help those individuals, and not try to help them in our own trauma, because it doesn't help. It doesn't work. And we have to understand that you're not helping people from your perspective, but from where they are. Understanding their hurt, their need, their limitations, and what things are affecting them within their household. Everybody has to escape differently. Everyone's plan is going to be different. It's not going to look the same. So we have to understand that. That's why it's so important that when we talk to individuals, to find out what their needs are, how can we support them? And sometimes giving those individuals, when they might be in a situation of saying, oh, I need to stay right here. I need to stay right here. Well, is that beneficial for that person to stay right where they are? Is it really going to help them? Do they have the support that they need where they are? And can we help build that support for where they are? Because it takes a village. They need the resources. They need the support. And if they don't have it around them, how can we build it? And if it's not able to be built where they are, how can we put them in a place and space where they will have those resources? So just understand that as you help individuals, or trying to help individuals, to place them with someone who is knowledgeable to understand how to serve those individuals and meet them at their needs and provide them what they need. And one person may not be able to do it all. They might have to have a village of people, of resources, a community to be able to give them what they need to help them through.
Wow. Sister Eva, thank you.
You're welcome.
That's deep. That's a lot. In Nkechi's place, this is not an accident that a scheduled speaker could not make it. And last minute, 7 o'clock on the dot, I called on Nkechi. It's not by accident. And I already know, though, about what I just said, that she's in this situation right now, that she needs financial help urgently. What are the resources that are there? That's one. Secondly, it's been said that when one is going through stalking, because we're talking about domestic violence, then stalking. She has experienced domestic violence, and I'm glad she had the opportunity. She talked about stalking before, but then I has the opportunity tonight to talk about domestic violence. With stalking, it is advised that somebody in that situation needs to move. What are the resources that are available for that? First, the financial resources, we need to meet that like yesterday. And then
yes, there are resources. And let me just say this, stalking has been placed as a form of domestic violence. So stalking is domestic violence. they have deemed that as domestic violence. So it is. As far as definitely she would need to move. I did speak to her a couple of days ago regarding some findings that I had for her, which I found to be very detrimental to her situation, that her information is out there and it should not be. I was able to find her location in less than 1 minute.
Whoa.
So I did inform her. I generally do clean sweeps for my clients where we sweep their information. Her information, as I stated to her, I pulled it up in less than a minute. And her address is supposed to be shielded. It's not supposed to be accessible, which is alarming, which was very alarming for me when I stated that to her. There's been some things that I've been working on for her. But yes. So her moving it is very important that she is moved,
But there are resources. We can discuss that
yes, we can get those resources in place for her to be able to move, as well as being released out of her lease for where she is.
Fantastic.
Dr. O,
Yes.
there are some things that I just found out
Your camera is muted.
For Alameda County. Is that where she is still in? Nkechi, are you still in Alameda? Yeah, I don't know how to post it. I tried to post it on the chat, but it's not going through. But anyway,
Send it to me.
O, I'll send it to you, and then you can send to her. At least there's some emergency housing resources that are available in Alameda County that you can explore, at least in the interim before, while you're trying to relocate, something like that. So I'll send to Dr. O, and then you can explore that. I think you can get help maybe tomorrow or 2 days, within a very short turnaround. Okay.
I will say this about their program. There are some criteria that you have to meet. One of the criteria is they look at your job, if you what have you done and all that. They will ask you some questions before your past jobs and all that. And if you say, oh, you're a teacher, you're this, you're that, they'll tell you, oh, you are very, very employable. You understand? They're looking for teachers. They're looking for this. And I would say, also say this too. My situation of stalking has been for almost 10 years. I've been to all those offices. They know me. And some of them now is like, oh, we've helped her a little and we've helped her, she needs to find her level. She needs to talk to her people to help her. So that is that. And
I'm gonna
I would
Sister Eva, sorry. Sister Ava. Yeah, you were saying.
I'm going to make some phone calls for her on behalf of us, our organization, because once again, stalking is considered, it is a federal crime. It is a felony for them, to be stalking her. 2, it is a form of domestic violence. And once she approached that in a different perspective, then that will be completely different for the services that she will be needing and getting and being able to have access to. It's just that she'll have to have someone to assist her and be able to navigate through this process a little differently. So I'm going to assist her with that process, as well as getting the fact that, one, as I stated to her, with her address already being leaked. There are several different factors that's in place here that will escalate her to being able to move quickly.
Thank you so much. Dr. Jagwe, thank you so much for the resources. And I have forwarded to Nkechi. The thing is, Nkechi's situation is a little bit deeper because of the length of time that this has been, the the size of the community and whatever somebody knows or not know, all of those. There are so many things. So that's why we're so grateful for Sister Ava. And thank you. I keep calling you Ava. I think I'm getting it right now. Ava, right? For being, here and having stepped in from day one to see what can be done. Sister Rosemary, kindly unmute.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. Okay,
Good
Chief.
evening. Yeah, good evening.
Good evening. How are you? Your story has really touched my heart. Have you tried to get therapy for yourself and for your son? Have you tried it? Because
Yes,
it
yes.
seems like there's a pattern right here. Your first husband was, abusive, and then the second one again.
And the second one wasn't my husband. He was just a stalker. And we
Yes.
never dated.
Okay. I think I would recommend that you go through some therapy, because this is really, really very heavy. You might take it lightly, but it's, you want to make sure that
Sister Rosemary, you are the best counselor we have around here. Let me say, one of the best counselors we have here.
Oh, in Maryland?
Yes.
Oh,
Can
yeah.
she use you as a resource?
Yeah.
With our son?
Available, yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Appreciate that. I'll connect you. Thank you. Because she needs counseling, hands down. And our son is not going to college. He got into colleges because he's scared. He wants to protect his mom because of what he has witnessed and seen over the last 10 years. That is scary.
10 years is just too long.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's too long. So a whole lot of things has happened. And
even this morning, I called the police. Today, I called the police this morning.
For what?
And why I called the police is the stalker, you understand, saw that I didn't go to work and called me, and I picked up the phone. I thought it was my work or somebody calling me, and he just stayed on the phone. That's what he does. He will just stay on the phone and not say anything. And I yelled, "Can you stop calling me, Mr. Kenny? Don't call me again." Then he just quickly hang up. And somebody said, if that happened, I need to call. And I called the police and they came. They were also mad. They're saying they're transferring the case. And that's one thing I've been waiting for so long. That is something, and I'm so grateful that God made that happen today.
Sister Hava, comment, please.
I think the other thing is I explained to her the process. Okay, so one of the most important things with dealing with domestic violence is tracking, documentation of situations. So even with the stalking, I informed her that the train of her documentation was not done properly. So she has cases that have not been connected to each other. So basically when she gets a call, they're looking at the current case, not the case history of all the case listed together, which poses a problem, because when they're looking at it, it almost seems as it was just one incident, whereas though it's been several incidents over a long period of time. So I did inform her of how to go about doing it. She had a couple of assignments that I gave to her. I'm not sure if she completed them yet, but I did give her a couple of assignments to work on so that we can start getting things in place for that. Like I said, I'm working definitely on that piece for her to be immediately moved because of the simple fact of her information being out there. This person has access to her address is out there. So if she moves somewhere, it was supposed to be where she moved. It was not supposed to be listed. No one was supposed to know where she was. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, that is not the case, as I stated. Right now, the most important thing for her to do is really, as I stated, make sure she can change her phone number, or either not answering her calls, letting those calls go to voicemail, and then answering the calls that she know are the ones that she needs to be addressing. She has to stop just allowing things to be open. The other thing, closing her curtains. I told her to make sure that things aren't open, to giving him accessibility to be able to see, know when she's home, things of that nature. So it's certain things that need to be done and implemented on her part so that we can maintain to keep her and her son safe during this time before we transition her out. But the other piece is definitely getting her all the resources together so that we can get her out of there. So like I said, we're working on this piece, finalizing everything, but I want to make sure that she's moved and she's worried about the housing income. But right now, that's not the biggest piece, because we can get her out of there without her being liable for that. By her being, once again, there are rights, individuals who are victims of domestic violence, if they're being tracked, stalked, threatened, or whatever by their abuser, they have the ability to be released of that release that they are in and moved. It is law. It is the law for them to release her. There's no reason or no way that they can bind her to that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Nkechi, have you done the homeworks you were given?
Yes, Vance, yeah.
Okay. So revert back to Sister Ava so that that can be done and things can be processed. For now, the she owes, and it needs to be covered. Please, anyone who can donate, kindly donate, assist. I will send the link out as soon as I get it. So Sister Onyedamola Olawepo said the lingo for our information being out there is called doxing. It is illegal and suable offense in California. So we know this is criminal. It is a federal offense. Nobody should be stalking anybody. Nobody should be hurting each other. But like Sister Ava said, we will continue to do our best, even though we may not be able to eradicate these behaviors. But when victims are bold enough to come out, to speak up, they will get help. We will refer them to Sister Ava and get the needful done. I'm laughing. It's not funny. It's no part of all of this is good. Attorney Morenike said, Sister Ava should please cite the law that she referred to, which will enable release from the lease. Sister Ava? Yeah, and
I'm sorry. Yes.
yeah. Dr.
Yes.
Dr. Mayowa said something that she's wondering if it is dangerous that you're sharing publicly. It is, because we don't know people on the, I mean, I noted something tonight on Medical Mondays. There were at least 2 or 3 iPhone, and there was another one that, they didn't have names on. I didn't bother. Usually I would, go, can you put your name and all of that? I thought it wasn't necessary. We don't know who they are. Somebody is Galaxy. So yes, we're careful not to share information that will be detrimental. For instance, we asking for resources to move Nkechi. Nobody knows where she's moving to. We don't know where I don't know where she will be moved to. None of us on this platform will know where she will be moved to. So your point is very legit and your concern. is legit. So go ahead, Sister Eva.
Yes, okay, so that law is actually, it's the California Code 1946. And basically it allows victims of domestic violence and stalking, as well as sexual abuse, to be released early of their lease if there are any of these documented cases. And that means that they're without penalty.
That's fantastic. So somebody put on the platform that thank you, Dr. and Sister Eva, for the system being put in place to help her move out. And they said they believe the stalker may be watching her now, likely planning his next move. May God protect and help her through this. Amen. Amen. Attorney Morenike Oyenusi said she agrees about being careful about sharing information, even to reveal a current county. Exactly. Well, you're absolutely right, but our address is online and it was found in 1 minute, right? You said. So that's out there. Yeah. This is tough. I just learned, though, from you, Sister Eva, that stalking is another type of domestic violence. I've been saying it, that it's not domestic violence. Domestic violence is when you live with somebody or you're sharing space, you have relationship with the person, and that's domestic violence. It could be, even to children, adults, intimate partner, those are domestic violence. But tonight, you said it twice, that stalking is a type of domestic violence. Can
Yes.
you explain that, please?
Yes. Well, basically, stalking is the same as domestic violence. It's a point of control as well. Control, manipulation, things of that nature. So I think it was maybe about, what year are we in? 2024. Maybe I think went back to, I think 2016, 2017, about 2017, 2018 was stalking was implemented as a form of abuse. Yes. So it used to be that if it was a situation, it had to be more than one time that it was considered as an abusive state for it to be even reported. Now, that's not the case. It can happen one time. And if it's happened one time, you're going to report that you can file a police report. And let me I'm going to fact check, because I always check myself, because once again, as I stated to you all, every state, their laws are different. And I'm trying to see when it was implemented in California.
Thank you. Sister Oyindamola Olawepo said, calling her and not saying anything on the phone is a major scare tactic, and it is a major form of power and control. Excellent point. Again, Sister Eva has advised, don't pick up. Most of us don't pick up on no numbers anymore. Most people don't. Most people do, you call them, you say, "But I called you." They say, "Oh, they're sorry, they don't pick up on no numbers." They'll be like, "Oh." And it's because of hackers or people who want to sell stuff that just waste time. You tell them, I'm not interested, and they still continue. People don't want to deal with that. So just don't pick up. Miss Alicia says, California Penal Code 636.9, it is illegal to follow, harass, and threaten another person. 646, not 646. This is the domestic violence power and control wheel as used by the National Domestic Violence Hotline. And she put the wheel up here. This is powerful. Thank you so much for sharing this. Thank you. Appreciate it. And Sister Wumi Kamsin is praying for you, Nkechi, that may God continue to watch and be with you, and we pray that too. Madam VP, kindly unmute. You have your hand raised.
Yes, thank you, Dr. O. I was just going to talk about some of the things within her control in terms of our telephone. I mean, right now, there's a way for verification. If all the names on your phone are associated with a particular person, your phone will say scam likely if somebody different is calling you. That's a scam. So like Dr. O was saying, do not pick up. I mean, you can control that much. Unless the person's phone number is already stored on your, in which case you can report to the telephone company. But you cannot be completely helpless. That's the point I'm trying to make. There's got to be some things that you can do to protect yourself. Living in fear with a youth is not a good quality of life. While we are praying, and they've shared a lot of resources for you, with you on this platform, but your phone is your number one protection. And you need to have so many people on speed dial if you're feeling fearful or you feel, I mean, I know you got restraining order or something thereabout, but you need to have people on speed dial that already can come to your aid if you. But I want to ask the speaker, with all of this information that she shared, definitely well documented, why is it that this gentleman is not arrested? What needs to be in place to substantiate the claim of stalking for this person to be arrested? Because it is a crime.
Mm-hmm.
And she already got
a restraining order.
3 times.
3 times I had restraining orders. So I specifically wrote to the chief and the executive. They said that there must be an evidence, a picture of him doing something. At first, it was a problem for me to get evidence because, the thing there is he's very smart at his game, what he does. So if I call the police today, he's going to stop for some time. And then when he calls, he knows when to call. And then he will call. Now the police are really believing me that no robocall calls at middle of the night at 2 a.m. So in the past, it used to be, everybody gets robocall. But robocall don't call at 2 a.m. Robocall don't wake you up in the morning. So that's when they started looking into the pattern that there's something different from all robocall. And he plays game. If he does something today, he will switch to another thing. And he uses people too. So they are looking for evidence to really transfer the case to the DA. There's nothing they can do at the moment. They can arrest him, but they have to transfer the case to the DA. And that is going to be implemented today. For what happened today and on Thursday, they will be transferring the case to the DA, where the DA will take over the matter.
But there's an app called DocuSafe for cyber stalking. It's called DocuSafe.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's an app called DocuSafe. So whenever any weird calls, at least they will see the frequency of a particular number calling you, whether the number is real or not. It's called DocuSafe. It will record all the things. I mean,
but that's why she needs to stop answering the calls.
Yes.
So when you stop answering the calls, it allows you to, once again, evidence tracing. And that's why I say everything comes back to the evidence tracing. If you don't answer, he's going to leave a message. He's going to say something. He
will say. He doesn't say. The thing there is, this morning I made the mistake of picking up a call because the reason why I picked up the call is my workplace will call me to go to a school or something. And if it's a number that I don't know, because it was 510, and I saw 510. I thought it was maybe one of the staff or something that's calling me and saying, look, you need to go to the school and do this. So that's why I picked up the call. In the rare sense, I don't pick up the call. So he knows the pattern now that if he calls with another number, I will not pick up. So he now uses the number that relates to my workplace, like 510-471 or something, so 69 something. And I'll pick it, but now I will not pick that up again. I will not do it again.
That's
Yeah,
called
and
that's
I'm sorry, where your child is concerned, anybody that can possibly want to call you, they need to know that they need to send you a text.
Okay.
Yeah, just say text only, please. You can have a text only. People should send you text. So you're vigilant, so you're not picking up calls. Yeah, I'm
Plus,
sorry.
if you don't pick up, if it's your school, they will leave a message. So right after the call, listen to the message and see if it's the school calling to have you come in.
Dr.
Yes.
Yes, Dr. Jagwe, go ahead.
When you see a number that's similar to your own area code and it's kind of familiar to you, it's called spoofing. Spoofing is another technique that all those hackers and you know people who want to sell something use. They'll use numbers that's close to your own number that it will seem as though it's somebody you know very well. So everybody is giving you the same advice. It's better not to pick up the call. Your phone should also have its own log, anyways. Any calls that come into your phone, you can go to your phone log and see the ones you answered and the ones you didn't answer. On my own phone, it will show red for all missed calls, and it will show black and white for the ones that I picked up. So I think all the records of calls coming to your cell phone are on your phone by themselves. I mean, by itself.
So, thank you, Dr. Jagwe. Dr. Ajay said, at this point, avoid answering any calls. Please get a new number specifically for work and ask your service provider to keep it unlisted. Provide this new number only to the school and refrain from sharing it with anyone else. I also want to read this out that stalking became a crime in the United States in 1990 when California became the first state to pass an anti-stalking law. This legislation was prompted by several high-profile cases, including the murder of actress Rebecca Schaeffer by an obsessed fan. Following California's lead, other states quickly enacted similar laws, and by 1993, all 50 states had passed anti-stalking legislation. In 1996, the federal government also criminalized stalking with the Interstate Stalking Punishment and Prevention Act, which made it a federal offense to cross state lines to stalk someone. Over the years, laws have continued to evolve to address stalking in person, online, and through other forms of technology. So it's a crime. And thank you, Sister Ava Asbox. Thank you. Dr. V, kindly unmute.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. I just wanted to underline something that came up with the call, don't call. Nkechi expressed that she's a substitute teacher, so she's probably worried about missing opportunities that hardly comes. And what do? I miss. So I think a combination is don't pick up calls, but Madam VP made a point. Inform all those who would communicate with you about texting options. Then when they text, you can then call back. So I think that, so this is confusing to say, don't call. How do I miss the substitute you're looking for and then to miss that opportunity? So I think it's a combination. I think the Madam CEO one was a good one as backup. Of course, don't call, but inform all your connections, the substitute agencies and districts that would call you, that they should text you, and then you call them back. That's my suggestion. Thank you, Dr. O, and everybody.
Thank you so much. That is right on point. And when you miss the call, also, as soon as you miss it, listen to the voice message and see if it's important. Or which one, if you need to respond right away. Sister Eva, kindly unmute. You are muted, I think. Go ahead, you have the floor.
Yes, and as she was saying, that was exactly what I was about to tell her. The reason why you have the actual protective order is to communicate that the protective order should be going to everyone. Your workplace should have a copy of that protective order. It should be on file. They should know what who that person is, the name of that individual, and if you have any types of pictures or anything whatsoever, it should be given to them. And it should be a plan that's implemented to state that, listen, I need you to leave me a message that I'm not going to answer your call upon just calling me. So those things have to be communicated to those individuals that you're working with, and knowing and utilizing that protective order as your proof. This is the reason why I need you to do X, Y, Z, and this is how I need you to go about doing it, so that I know that it is you who is calling me or sending me information.
Thank you. Thank you. Sister Oyedamola Olawepo, kindly unmute.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't miss anything. Go ahead, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, what I wanted to say was almost the same thing as what Dr. V said. So that was why I decided to just put my hand down. But like Sister Ava said, you can inform them at your job. I'm trying to get into my work system right now to get out one brochure that we have that is called DV in the Workplace and How It Affects, and see about sharing that on here as well.
Please.
It gives a guide as to how your employers can help you, as to how you can get help from your employers as well. It's a tricky situation that you are, Sister Nkechi, and it's a sad one. I would say go back to shelter, but you already had bad experiences with them. So it's like trying to re-traumatize saying go back to a shelter. But I would say that when it comes to the calls that come in on your phone, echoing what everyone else has said, you cannot miss a call because of work. At the same time, you can this person would keep having control over you if you keep picking up the call, because that scare tactic will continue. So again, like they've all said, which is very right, which I agree with, have your workplace understand what exactly it is that's going on with you. Let them understand that you want one person calling all the time, or if it's going to be a different number, let it be a text first and then call. Let them leave a voicemail and then you call them back. But do not pick a call that you do not know. I know a lot of people have said things along the lines of, when a call is coming in and it's spam, it's going to tell you it's spam. Not all the calls will do that. This person's call is not going to do that because it hasn't been reported as spam. The only reason most calls come in as spam now is because when someone receives the call, they report it as spam. So when someone else receives that call, it shows up as spam. But if someone else doesn't report it, then it would not show as spam for every other person. So regardless of we saying it will show up as spam, if it's doing this to just her, it's not coming up as spam to her. She will just see a normal call that she wants to pick because of work. So I would just echo the same thing everyone has said. Let your workplace use messages to communicate with you. Let them leave voicemails, and then you can call them back when you're sure of who it is.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that wisdom. God bless you. Dr. O from California, Dr. Guleye, kindly unmute.
Hello, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening. As a retired teacher and who was once a substitute teacher before I got into full-time teaching, I don't think she has the option of telling them to text her instead because it's automated. The system dials a substitute, and if that substitute doesn't pick up, it goes on to the next one. So what I would advise is that she inputs all the districts that she serves in her phone. Save them in your contact so that when they call, you will know it's the district calling. District A, District B, District C, and then you pick up. That's my advice. Thank you.
Do they have definite numbers, like the calls coming from there? Are those calls from the same number for this particular school?
Yes, subfinder numbers. Yes.
Okay, so thank you. You have to find all of those numbers in places where you substitute and store them.
Yeah.
So you can answer them. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And Dr. Guleye is a retired, she's not just a teacher. She's a doctor.
Yeah, can I ask a question?
And oh no, wait a minute, before you ask the question, and if you remember, I talked about Hasuya.
Yeah.
One that makes the excellent suya that you can order from anywhere. Please post that in the chat box for us, because I know that I love her. People love suya. She makes the best suya, and it comes to you fresh from wherever you are. Madam VP, go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you. When you change your phone number, is it also posted? Is it posted? Because you can also request a new number from your carrier, and then you notify those that you trust. Because asking you to get another phone is a financial burden, which you cannot afford right now. But I don't know how technology works to that extent. If you go to your carrier and tell them you want to change your number, does anybody know? Will that number be published to everybody at the same time?
I don't know.
Because that should be one of the options that you have.
Okay, so I have changed my number, changed my cell phone. The thing that is, I've been told how tech savvy this individual is. Because there was a time that when I was completing my master's, when we come back in the night and somebody would just unplug the internet, me and my son, we can't use the internet. So I kept calling them. They had to call somebody that is like a high-tech person from Infinity. And he came to the house and he said to us that this individual is a hacker and an expert, that he got into the GUI of the cell phone, of the internet. So there's nothing that we do. We have to get a password to block him off. And we did that. Things got better, but he goes everywhere and do things. I have different phones. I just changed my phone. This number is new. If I can just walk down there and show everyone how many phones that I've changed. And now they're even telling me to change this phone. There is something on this phone that he uses to track me, that I had to really buy a new phone and change this phone entirely. And then they can do something about it, but he has something on this phone that I don't know.
Well, as it was said, our information is out there. So they're working with her. Mr. Ava is working with her to keep our conversation, our information private. So I don't think changing the phone is going to help, but changing that would help. So Attorney Oyemisi, kindly unmute.
I'm showing you guys this.
Hello. Attorney Oyemisi,
can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes. We see several. You've shown us like how many phones is that?
Yeah, I will.
That's 2, 3, 4.
4, and then the one I have 5, and I've not
5.
gone upstairs. I've not gone to
It's not that will not resolve it, obviously. Yeah, go ahead, Attorney.
Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to mention, I know we've flocked to death the issue about the cell phone and not picking up the cell phone, which I agree, because I don't pick up numbers and I don't recognize at all. Even though I'm not being stalked, I just don't, because there are too many telemarketers. But I wanted to say that phone companies will typically have additional security. I think what I use is called Armor Shield or something. It's free, it's provided free, and that helps you protect yourself from callers as well. And that app will will identify a number as spam, even if it's not a number that you have not saved in your. It will identify it anyway, basically, whether or not it's a number you're familiar with or not. It will say whether it's spam. So that way, that will help a little bit more. I have to say that sometimes it makes a mistake, because I've received calls that try to come in, for example, from my workplace, which is identified as spam, whereas it really wasn't spam. But it's just another useful tool to protect yourself.
Thank you. Please send the information to Dr. O. I'll also do that.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it depends.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Hello?
We couldn't hear you. Yeah, go
Oh,
ahead.
can you hear me now?
Yes.
No, I said it depends on the phone company. You've got to check directly with your phone company which security app that they use. Each company is different. I'm with T-Mobile, but each company is different. AT&T has a different one. So I just recommend contacting or even going to their website. They'll have information on your website as to the kind of protection that they offer to shield you from phone calls.
Okay, so like Sister Eva Rose said, I'm under a program called Safe at Home. And Safe at Home in California now works with Infinity.
Okay.
I will tell you this, that if it's not for that program, he would have breached a lot of bridges.
Okay.
But he's still great, you understand, they really protect. And like if a call, like in the past, like if there's a break-in or something, the police would just come on time to the house. So they now have like a special kind of thing at my house, that if anything happened, they know that it's that lady that has a stalker, they will quickly call the police. And another person asked me, what security have I done to protect myself? As I'm sitting down with you here, I have more than 10 cameras downstairs my house, which is really engulfing a lot of money, which is not okay. And I'm not ashamed to share this with you guys. You understand, also a way to protect me and my son. At the age of 9 years old, I had to take my son to a shooting range. I had to get my son a gun. I'm not playing. I had to become a security officer to become armed so that I can be licensed to have a gun, just to protect myself when it was very bad. So I've done everything to somehow to protect myself, but this individual is not stopping. But it's so annoying me that a Nigerian man think is okay. Not all Nigerian men are like that. We have Nigerian men on this a forum that are productive, that are doing great things in America. But this man just shows me and my son and see that we're vulnerable and doing this to us. This is not okay.
It is not okay. It is not okay. Well, I thank everyone who has contributed tonight. I especially thank Sister Eva, who has brought our expertise to us in this arena. This will resolve. Nkechi's story, by the grace of God, when next she comes on Medical Mondays will be different by God's grace. I'm going to wait and have her resolve the link that people can donate to assist her. Once I get that, I will send that out. Kindly assist. Assist I need. Thank you so much, everyone. These sessions have been emotional for me because it just is not right, period. There's no way we can slice it. So before we call it good night, I want to revert back to Sister Eva and have you give us some closing wisdom, please.
Well, I think the most important thing is to, one, read the information I put out there to how to assist a loved one. As you help, make sure that you ensure that individual is in a non-judgmental space. Give them a safe place for them to be able to come to help, know how to help. And when you can't help, refer them to someone who actually can. Be there, irregardless of what the person goes through. And even if they decide to return back for whatever situation, make sure you're still there for them, because everyone is not always ready to walk away. Everyone's not always ready to do everything that you have informed them to do. But knowing that they have the opportunity to come back to you to get the assistance, and that you're going to still be there and care and help and assist them, is important, to know that they have that support. Leaving and preparing to do anything is a mindset. It doesn't happen overnight. It's so many things that an individual had to work through to get to the point to be ready to leave. And even when they are ready, they may leave and they may come back and go back to the situation. It is a reality. Unfortunately, it happens too often. An individual takes anywhere from 7 to 12 times before they officially leave. So operate in love and truth, transparency, being there with those individuals for the support, being kind, giving them grace, as well as I say to anyone, give yourself grace in the midst of everything.
Thank you. Thank you. Right on the money, because it's easy to start feeling guilt in these scenarios. Attorney Oyenusi, who spoke a little while ago, said she also wanted to add that she is very sorry for what Nkechi is going through. She prays for her relief because she went through stalking in her 20s also, and it was not a good experience, she said. She can't imagine what you're going through, Nkechi, she said, after so many years, because you've been going through this for, geez, too long. You should not go through it at all. Well, you've been going through it for too long. And our, Sister Onyedamola Olawepo also works with people going through domestic violence, stalking, and all of that. She had posted in the forum Technology Safety from National Network to End Domestic Violence. So please let us click on that and learn from that and see how we can engage. And I want to also say for Sister Eva, they have an organization, they do a lot. So if you please post in the chat box, link to you for anyone who can donate to their organization. All of these things take money. She never asks for money. She doesn't. And I'm putting her on the spot. Please post, please, please, in God's name. Appreciate that. Sister Oyindamola Olawepo, please kindly unmute and speak. You have your hand raised. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Ma. I just wanted to say that as we were going through, Sister Ava was dropping some things, and I also dropped some things in the chat as well. This is not just for Sister Nkechi, but for everyone on this call. This is ways that we help. This is ways that we can understand a little bit more than we understand. This are ways that we can provide the help and also maybe recognize some things. The power and control wheel is very strong in this line of work because it explains different aspects of things that you probably don't see and would help you understand them. I'm not familiar with the things that Sister Eva dropped, but I can see the titles of them and I know that they are extremely important as well. I also dropped 2 brochures from my organization, which is one, the handbook for DV victims. It explains a lot. It's a 30-something pages brochure that breaks down everything as much as possible. And I also dropped one on DV in the workplace as well, in case you have staff or how to handle this situation if you have to go into work. And then ended it with the tech safety from NNEDV. Now, that tech safety part is mostly Nkechi. I don't know if anything on there will be able to help you, but I know that there are resources in there. They keep adapting it and changing it as well because, again, this abusers don't relent. As much as we try to get them to come to a halt and a stop, they find new ways to perpetrate their evil. So again, I'm sorry you're going through all of this, and I pray that God will give you the ease and the support that you need. I think that's all that I have.
Amen. Thank you so much. Thank you for all those resources. God bless you. And in the chat box, we see what Sister Ava does, the helping survivors escape, heal, rebuild, and thrive. I tried to use this Scantron, but it's not working. There's a Scantron on there, but it didn't populate. So if you can take the picture, that would be great. Then you'll be able to get to the website.
I want to quickly answer a question somebody just asked and said, is Nkechi in a relationship at the present?
Yeah.
Yes, I used to be in a relationship.
So at the present, are
And
you?
not now. No, because of the stalkers spoke to the person that I was in relationship with him back home in Nigeria, telling the person that's how wicked this man is, to tell him that we are in relationship and use the language ki Nigeria, she Nigeria, America, she America. That means people in Nigeria should be in Nigeria and people in America should marry people in America, right? But that caused a lot of problem for me and that person. If that person was around, I don't think I would come to you all to ask for money. He would have helped me to pay the house rent, but he damaged my relationship with the individual because he has so much of my information. How he did that, I don't know. A lot of my information. So, and I'm trying also to change do some other things for my identity that I don't want to disclose because I'm seeing a lot of high numbers and I don't know who that, but those iPhone numbers are. He's very good at going online to check on things. So I don't know whether he's in this group, but I don't. So please help me, pray for me. It has not been easy. It's not been a good roller coaster for me and my little boy. I don't wish anyone to go through this. The mistake I think I made is ever giving my number to this man that I thought is from Nigeria through the school. I didn't meet him on the road. I didn't meet him in a restaurant, but he took advantage of my singleness as a single mother and wants to take advantage of me. He saw my vulnerability, but I will not give up and I will not give in. But just pray for me that he will be caught. I am strong. That's why I'm not going to cry this night. not giving in for him to cry. So just keep praying for me that this end of November, everything should come to an end in Jesus' name. Thank you.
Amen. Amen. Dr. Mayowa said also, let us as parents and grandparents teach our female children who they are and our male children that the strength of a man is not through their fists. May God help us. Amen. I agree with that. However, men also go through domestic violence. So what do you say there? Another thing is domestic violence is not just physical. In some domestic violence situations, there is no physical abuse. It's mental and or emotional abuse. So we should just raise our children right to be human beings and not to be animals. Even though we are in the animal kingdom, to not act like animals, like barbarians. Sister Eva is smiling, it's true. I'm sorry, that's the scientist in me. That, and see, the person right in the said, Sister Oyindamola said, abuse cuts across gender and everything. God help and protect us and ours. I like that. It cuts through gender and everything. It doesn't matter if you're a professional or not professional, if you have 10 degrees or not, or have no degree, it does not matter. Abuse cuts across everything. So till we meet again next week, I pray that the Lord keeps us safe. And I ask that we all still be mindful that COVID is still very real. And we need to protect ourselves. Thank you so much, everyone.
Dr. O, please, 30
Yeah.
seconds.
Yes, ma'am.
30
Go ahead.
seconds. Yeah. I think that we women have a lot to do with this kind of problem. Our mothers or fathers of male children who perpetrate abuse, you've seen it in your children growing up. You've seen how they display anger. We need to get them help before they get married. We need to get them help. So everybody, or female as well, all of our children, you see how they display anger. So they need to get help. It's no, what is it called? It's no, it's not a stigma to get help for a behavior pattern that it's not socially acceptable. Thank you.
Madam VP, you're right on the money. What I'm going to say again, sometimes is the women that are the abusers. I know men that are abused right now. It's none of my business because they're not coming out complaining about it, but I witness it. You can just stand with couples or be with them and you can see a man being abused by a woman. By the lash, the lash of the tongue, the behavior, they are emotional abuse, the mental abuse to the men also. It goes both ways. So parents should curb their daughters too and their sons. That's why I said we should raise our children regardless of their sex. We should raise them to be human beings and not animals. Because it's animal behavior.
Yeah, spot on. I mean, it's for all of us.